So, where should we begin? I recently did an episode that was entitled Esther Says Run. That kind of says what the subject matter was. And then a woman asked me to meet with her because she actually did leave, but she had a lot of feelings about it. What is clear to me is that leaving isn't always the end of the story. Sometimes people leave because they think it's the right thing to do, it's what they have to do, but it's really not what they want to do. And so this woman is at a crossroads of meeting up again with the man she was married to, has divorced, and now is wondering, could she see him again? Nobody knows, except for me and now you. In this following session, we discuss assault, and I want you to know this before you listen. So, why are we here? What made you say, okay, I need this? Why now? And what would make it helpful?
I suppose I kind of feel like I have two opposing parts that I have not been able to reconcile for years. One part is this logical part, the part that listens to my friends and family, and that part says my past relationship was unhealthy and I should not be with him. I am not currently with him. We were together for 9 years, married for 3, have been divorced and lived in separate states for 2 years now. And then there is this deeper feeling part that can't let go of him. That I have never felt so lit up, desired, excited, seen with anyone else before. And so, why now? He, through all this time away, has stayed pretty constant in his love for me. He has also dated other people in the meantime, but he reaches out every few months. And we started talking again maybe 2 weeks ago. And I know how this sounds.
Tell me.
That everything he says sounds right. Obviously, I'm not there, so I can only speak to what he's told me. But it sounds like he has made major changes in his life. He owns up and takes responsibility for the worst parts of our relationship. He seems to be reckoning with those things within himself. And so we have been talking about spending a weekend together in a few weeks.
Does he know you're here?
Yes.
How did that come up?
I told him because I wanted to say everything to him before I came to you. So my therapist, close to 2 years ago, shortly after I left, had me write a breakup letter to him. And this letter was a collection of the worst things in our relationship, the worst moments, a sort of justifying to myself and him or reminding myself of why I left. And so I recently read that letter to him before coming in here today because I wanted to hear how he would react, being reminded of those worst moments. And I think he reacted well. You know, he was quiet. It was clearly hard for him to hear those things. And he apologized and owned up to it. You know, when we were together, I often told him it was like there was two people within him. There was the person I was in love with that I knew loved me. And then there was this other part that I called the stranger. And this other part would take over and all of a sudden talk to me like I was the enemy. And that was very combative, you know, led to a lot of arguments. And so I asked him, what happened to that part? Where is the stranger? Or how did you deal with that? And he said, it's still there. I recognize it. It's still there, but I have to, it's a combination of making decisions, putting myself in the right place to not get sucked into that, and to recognize what triggers are likely to bring that part of him forward.
Does your therapist, they know does she know you're here?
No, no one else knows.
Okay. Does she know you're planning to have a weekend with him?
No.
Okay. Does the contingent who lives on the logical side of you, do they know anything?
No, no one else knows. No family, no friends. He is the only person who knows.
Okay. So the emotional, passionate side of you is having a secret with the logical side. One is having a secret of the other. Okay.
So I suppose I want to be clear that I am not a victim, if I ever was. I am not anymore, and I will never be again. I know that leaving was the best thing for me. And I have done a lot of work on myself, a lot of growth. I feel like a completely different person than I was when I was with him, and certainly than I was when we met over 10 years ago.
Can I ask you, for me to have a sense of a few of the things that are in the breakup letter?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yes. Talks a lot about fighting. There was a lot of fighting, frequent arguments. Often I didn't know why we were fighting, why he saw me as such a bitch. He seemed to react to me in a way like I was looking to hurt him, which I wasn't most of the time. The first time that I noticed some disconnect or that he wasn't emotionally supportive, this was in our very first year together, and I was finishing up grad school. And I was going into my very last final. And that morning, he's sitting outside, smoking a cigarette, looking at his phone. And rather than kind of send me off in love, he said, "Oh, will you go buy me a cup of coffee before you go?" And I was so stunned and confused. I don't have time for that. Why are you asking me to do something for you on such a big morning for me?
For exactly that reason.
What do you mean?
You're too busy with yourself. You have too big a day. It's about you. It's about your professional autonomous pursuit. It symbolizes you being able to do things without me. It highlights my dependence on you. It highlights your independence from me. And I don't like the fact that you are completely involved in something that's important to you when what should be most important to you is me.
Yes. And so you may not be shocked to find out that that attitude continued. And at the time, I had never been in therapy. And so my kind of untreated, whatever, childhood wounds, I was at that time looking for a source of identity in another person.
How old were you?
I was 20. I had just turned 24.
Okay. And how much is the age difference?
He is 10 years older than me.
Okay. So maybe it's not only about childhood wounds, maybe it's also about being young and immature.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
they may be both, but just to put things in a developmental
Yes.
perspective as well.
Yes. And I had decided that I did not want to stay in the field that I was in graduate school for, but I also didn't have another plan. And so this guy who came along was very charming, had a career of his own. The idea of, oh, I don't have to decide. I will attach myself to this person and that will be what I do.
He will be my project. And if
Yes.
he is not feeling well about us, my project will be to find every way possible to reassure him, make him feel secure, make myself feel deserving of him, make him appreciate me. Any more?
All of that. And I stopped working on myself, stopped investing in my own social life, my own career, and became very resentful of him that our life, after a couple years when we kind of stalled out professionally, developmentally, it was all his fault in my mind. If he would just do X, Y, and Z, then I would be happy.
If he would do what, for example?
Make more money, work harder in his own career, treat me better, allow me to do whatever I wanted, if that meant sit on the couch all day. And he should love me anyway and be thankful to be with me. So, we both contributed.
Thank you. I appreciate and I highly respect your insights, your honesty, your ability to see how it takes two to create some of this. He became your project and you needed him to justify all the sacrifices you made. And so now he had to perform on your behalf so that you would not be as resentful for what you had given up.
Exactly.
If I am no longer me and you have to fill me, then I need you to be a double dose of everything, at least.
Yeah.
And the less I liked myself and the more resentful I was toward him.
Yes.
And him?
Resentment built back up because I think he initially was attracted to me because I was smart, driven, independent, had friends, and I, over the course of a few years, stopped being all those things. But I told him he couldn't say that to me. You can't criticize me.
Because I made it look like I did this for you.
Yes. Yes.
And you are not giving me enough back, and therefore you are never good enough.
Yes.
And so that becomes a relationship of two people who don't feel good enough.
Yes.
And who become very fused with each other and end up at each other's throats.
Yes.
Physically too?
Yes. A few times.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly shoving.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
In the name of this really beautiful moment of accountability, do the people who belong to what you call the logical part of me, do they see the dynamic, or did they buy into mean guy, sweet woman?
I mean, a few of my friends and family have used the word, you are perfect.
Mm.
They think I am perfect and he's the bad guy.
So the secret isn't necessarily that you're going to see him. The secret is how either you've come to represent yourself or how the story was told back then. And so it becomes the story of abusive control, narcissistic guy, sweet victim, perfect woman who needed to save herself. And your therapist, what story did she go by?
I don't think she would describe me as perfect.
Good.
But I also think at some point, I think she decided he is irredeemable.
He is irredeemable.
Yes. I started seeing her with him. He actually found her.
Mm-hmm.
And we went together. And in the first few months, she helped us immensely. Our relationship got to the happiest point it had ever been. And then he went to rehab, checked himself in, decided the drinking was unsustainable. And then when he got out, he stopped trying to work on anything else. He seemed to kind of hold on to that sobriety as a kind of defense against doing any further work. So I kept going, and then the arguing continued. He slipped back into old patterns. He refused to go to therapy. And after listening to me cry and complain about his behavior for a very long time, she finally said, "You see it." And then I couldn't avoid it anymore. And it felt like she was my last hope, that I couldn't get him to change on my own. And when it became clear that she couldn't help either, I knew I loved him, but I would not stay in that relationship as it was.
How did he react to your leaving?
He was devastated, sobbed and cried and hugged me. But he didn't fight me or try to convince me otherwise. And he has said since then that he wished he had put up more of a fight. But I actually really appreciated that he didn't. It made me feel like he was listening, like he heard me, like he respected my decision.
And when you say the patterns came back, you're referring to what?
He would kind of get in his own head.
Do you know why I just smiled?
No.
When you say the word pattern, you instantly think him. Now, he may come to you and tell you all the ways he has changed or what he's accountable for or how he understands what happened. But if when you use the word pattern, you instantly point finger at him, then the change is not reciprocal enough. It's just an observation. If the first word out of your mouth is he, then your frame hasn't shifted.
I hear that. I hear that. So, previously in our relationship, when I say that he would get into these kind of antagonistic moods and would pick